He's considered one of the finest Formula One drivers ever. Niki Lauda has died at the age of 70. He won F1 titles in 75 and 77 with Ferrari, 84 with McLaren. But what you probably remember him most for is surviving the horrific crash in the 1976 German Grand Prix. Just a horrible scene, and he suffered serious burns. His helmet came off, his face was burned heavily, and he was forever badly scarred. But he made this incredible recovery and returned to racing just 6 weeks later. The movie Rush featured his longtime rivalry with British race car driver James Hunt. Going back to the injuries in '76, he had lung damage. He needed a lung transplant about 8 months ago, and complications from that. He was, as I said, 70 years old. But that's just some of what we're remembering today. Lots of discussion about this in Britain, of course, and Thomas Dagg joining me this morning in our London bureau to remind us more about the life and legacy of this great driver, Thomas.
Yeah, a giant in motorsports, Heather, a figure who defied death in that crash, but also apparently just a pleasant, down-to-earth man, according to anyone who knew him, really. A statement from his family today underlined what they call his unique achievements, and indeed they are unique. How many people do you know won the F1 World Championship 3 times and then went on to become an airline executive? Remember, he founded Lauda Air. That's where it got its name. It was later bought out by Austrian Airlines. But even in the final years of his life, he served as a non-executive chairman of the Mercedes-AMG Petronas F1 team. Today, they said they've lost a guiding light. They say Lauda was always brutally honest and utterly loyal, in their words. One of the top drivers in the world, Valtteri Bottas, with that Mercedes team, also shared a picture with Niki Lauda online today saying, R.I.P. Niki, #legend. And I don't think any fan of that sport would dispute that, Heather.
As I was mentioning, Thomas, you know, younger viewers would remember the film probably in 2013, Rush. Got a lot of attention at that time, a fictionalized account of his life and his rivalry, but a lot of attention in that film to the horrific crash in 1976. Remind us in some more detail about the facts of that.
Yeah, really horrific. Lauda's Ferrari hit an embankment, burst into flames, and then another car came around and hit it head on. It wasn't just the crash that was horrific, but the flames as well. Lauda suffered damage to his lungs from smoke inhalation. Eventually, when he's pulled out of the wreck, he's rushed to hospital. He's actually given the last rites, and everyone thought that was it. The crash had killed him, but somehow he hung on and survived, even went on to race again 40 days later, and indeed win 2 more world titles. Here is a bit from an extraordinary interview in 1976, the year of that German Grand Prix crash, talking about resisting death.
Just fight with the brain. You hear noises and you hear voices, and you just try to listen what they're saying, and you try to keep your brain working and to get the body ready to fight against the illness. And I think this was very good that I did that, because in that way I survived.
Health problems persisted his whole life. He underwent 2 kidney transplants, had a lung transplant done last year. His family says Lauda passed away peacefully yesterday at the age of 70, Heather.
Thomas, thanks very much. Remembering that. Thomas Dagg from London.